Welcome back to On Points, New Year edition. DeRosa alongside James Scully. James, Happy New Year and happy birthday to all Thoroughbreds.
Yes, Happy New Year and looking forward to 2019. It's time to start talking Kentucky Derby.
All right, well, we'll wrap a bow on the two-year-old season. We didn't get to recap the Springboard Mile or the Jerome. Haven't touched on our top 10 list either in a while, but honestly, neither of those two races impacted mine.
Yeah, no way. The Springboard Mile was long-range toddy. He only got an 89 brisk speed rating. Mind control. It was a pretty gritty effort. Had to turn back a couple challenges. But that one-turn Jerome, I don't think he's going to be a true two-turn classic distance type 3-year-old.
Yeah, I agree. I am willing to say, if they show up again and either improves with a good effort around two turns, obviously they become players not only because they've won two races and might even be in the Derby at that point, and you would have to pay attention, but B, I just need to be shown a little more by both of them. So neither cracked my top 10. I will say, though, Springboard Mile ends Asmussen's losing streak in points races, which lasted all throughout last year. So good to see him off the schneid. Excellent trainer, and I'm sure we'll hear more from him this year as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, he's won a Preakness. He's won a Belmont Stakes. That's the main goal in front of him, is to win a Kentucky Derby. And, it's like one of those things where it's not a matter of if, but more when, you would think.
Probably. And he has won in Oaks as well and Breeders' Cup races. So, yeah, Derby squarely in his sights. Nothing this weekend, though, for Mr. Steve, as our colleague Joe likes to call him. We have the Mucho Macho Man, not a points race. Wouldn't surprise me, though, if maybe that is one in coming years, very similar to the Jerome one-turn configuration. And the Sham, one of the favorites already on the Derby Trail, Coliseum, makes his stakes debut. Yeah,
and Coliseum, I mean, really, he was well touted before he ever ran. He went off 1-2. He won by almost 7 lengths in wire-to-wire fashion at Del Mar. He's come back, and he's just been training every work as a 6-furlong bullet work in preparation. So he's by Tappet. He's out of a Game Face, a Grade 1 winner by by Menifee, who ran second in the Kentucky Derby. So the pedigree's there, you would think. And he's one of this trio of Baffert horses that are just so imposing. I mean, right now he's got Improbable, he's got Game Winner, and he's got Coliseum. And if Coliseum runs to expectations, it's going to be real exciting to see how he keeps those horses apart going forward.
Yeah, and I realize this is going to be a cliche statement probably this year throughout the trail, but at this point, Justify hadn't even started yet, yeah. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen again, but with Baffert, I mean, you just know, even beyond the three you mentioned, who knows what else is.
Yeah, he's got several maiden winners. He's got, I know there's, I told you that Roadster, I was sort of excited to see him come back and run. So, yeah, he's got as strong a hand as he's ever had. He's won 2 Derbies in the last 4 years, 5 total. He's all-time second place. He can tie Ben Jones, and he wants that bad.
No doubt. Well, Coliseum, certainly the one we're all looking for from a Derby perspective. I will say, from a wagering standpoint, I took a long look at Savagery. I think he has a shot. If Coliseum doesn't want the lead, maybe Savagery's the one there. And I see him as maybe the one that sticks around for a piece most of any. Gunmetal Gray, or is it Gary or Gray?
It's Gray.
Gray, thank you. Gunmetal Gray, I just think will be overbet. And if you're going to use Coliseum at all, you can't use Gunmetal Gray. So Savagery was one I gave a look to at a price.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it as having a lot of betting appeal. I will say Gunmetal Gray did not get the right trip in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He needed to be up close to the pace. He dropped back. He was last. They're switching jocks to Mike Smith. So I do expect some money to come in on him, but Coliseum will be the odds-on favorite.
No question. All right, that's the West Coast. On the East Coast, it's kind of a similar look from a player standpoint, because we have Code of Honor, unquestionably the horse most people would be thinking about from a Derby perspective in the Mucho Macho Man, but several very good Florida-based horses, well-defined. Ty and Garter and Trophy Chaser show up here as well as a smart maiden winner for Jimmy Jerkins. Code of Honor is going to have to earn it off the bench.
He will have to earn it, and that layoff is a concern. He's been scratched from the last 2 races he entered. He hasn't run since the Champagne in early October. He's really been like a hype horse, and those are the kind of horses that I don't mind playing against, because he's going to take all this money. Yep. You mentioned Trophy Chaser. He got one of the top 2-year-old speed ratings when he broke his mane, but it was in in the slop. There was a little bit of concern. Came back. He was fifth in the Champagne. I thought he ran a good race to be second to Improbable in the street sense. He's the kind of horse I'd take because I just think he has a chance to go wire to wire.
Yeah, speed figure-wise, final time, he's regressed, which I don't like, but predictive form, which is one of the things we saw in Brisnet, did give him a new pace top in that race against Improbable, and sometimes that augurs for reversal in form, a little bit of a freshening. Ty and Garter, though, is my top pick, just as fast as these, and for some of these, this is sort of the race. I mean, it's by no means prestigious. I don't think it's even graded, but how far is Ty and Garter going to go? He's not like a Florida Derby contender. So winning these races means a lot to the connections are based in Florida, and him and Well Defined sort of fit that profile. Whereas I could see Trophy Chaser maybe stretching out, being by Twirling Candy, and trying the next step at least.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much further, but yeah, definitely could potentially stretch out to non-furlongs, Trophy Chaser. And with Code of Honor, he just needs to run a good race. I mean, if he's like second or third, that doesn't hurt him at all because, like you said, it's a one-turn mile.
All right, well, we will talk next week ahead of your travels to New Orleans. Looking forward to having you down in the LeCompte. I'll be at the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn, so the action heating up after the Sham. We have a 1-week break, but should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, all right, that sounds good.